So supplements. People say, oh, but if you need supplements, then your diet isn't perfect, is it? And they use that as an argument. But you got to realize, not many people are indeed eating a perfect diet. I mean, if you're, and most of all, not all people are living in a perfect environment. You know, humans are tropical primates. We're supposed to be in the tropical regions of the world. We would naturally be out among other animals and in nature and that sort of thing. And we're not really doing that, most of us anyway, in this modern day. And that's why some supplements might be a good idea. Let's get into the 3 supplements that I recommend every vegan take. So let's start with the first one, the most obvious one everyone talks about. B12. B12. Think about it. B12 is not actually a food nutrient per se. So when the meat eaters say, hey, you need to take B12 supplement because a vegan diet isn't a complete diet, it's not actually correct, because B12 is not produced by animals, it's produced by bacteria. And so when the cows are out in the pasture eating grass, they're actually getting a lot of that bacteria and that B12 from the grass. And if cows are not fed grass, then they actually have to be injected with B12 as a supplement. So if you're eating beef and you're getting B12 from it, you're actually just sort of cycling your B12 injection through the cow and to you through the meat, where in reality you could just skip the meat and avoid all those, hormones and that stuff that you don't need from meat, and just take your B12 supplement directly instead. Unless, of course, you live out in the wild, you're eating wild foods, you're picking fruits from the tree and eating them where there's bacteria on the surface of the fruit, because that's how we would naturally get our B12, If we were out in the wild, we would be touching earth and soil all the time, soil in our fingers, put it in our mouth, eating fruit, not peeling it, that sort of thing. And we're not doing that anymore. We are washing our hands, we're washing our produce, our food is probably grown in sort of microbe poor soil. And so we're not getting the B12 we naturally would in a natural environment. And actually we would probably also eat termites. That's my theory anyway, that as primates we would eat termites in our natural setting, and termites are actually a concentrated source of B12. So again, we would be getting lots of B12 in our natural environment, and we're not getting it today. So that's why we probably need to supplement. Okay? I supplement with Methylcobalamin B12. I take it twice a week. Not sponsored by this brand or anything. It's just, this is the one I like. It's worked for me. It's brought my levels up from very, very low up to about 600 now. There's no known sort of negative side effects of taking B12. You sort of just pee out the excess, so it's not really a dangerous supplement to take. It's absorbed sublingually, which is in the mouth. So even if you have a problem with your intrinsic factor in the stomach, you can still take this supplement and you'll still be getting it into your bloodstream through the sublingual gland under your tongue. So that's B12, which I said was an environmental nutrient rather than a food nutrient per se, which brings us to the next supplement, which is also an environmental nutrient, vitamin D. Again, we are tropical primates. We would be in the tropics. And how is it in the tropics again? It's sunny. Well, at least when it's not raining. There's a lot of sunshine, and the sunshine is strong. And we would naturally be getting exposed to this sunshine almost every day of the year. And when the sunshine hits the skin, it stimulates the skin to produce something that goes to the liver, which in turn ultimately becomes vitamin D. And it's actually more of a hormone than a vitamin, actually. And this is essential for good health. And if you're not living in the tropics, like I am, I'm here in Norway right now, it's probably a good idea to supplement with vitamin D. Well, it's definitely a good idea as far as I can see, based on scientific evidence and based on my own vitamin D levels. When I was traveling in the tropics, my levels were good. But as soon as I've been in Norway for a few months, they start dropping. And so now I take a vitamin D supplement every day of the year almost. And I think you should too. Of course, this is not medical advice. I'm not a medical doctor. This is just my personal experience and my personal advice to you. I used to take this one. Now I take another one. But the key is, it's D3. There's 2 types. There's D2 and D3. D2 is vegan, but it's not very effective in raising your levels as far as I've seen. You want to have the D3 version. But normally the D3 version is not vegan. It's made by sheep's wool. And so you don't want to do that because, right, we're vegans. We don't want to exploit animals, at least I don't. So I recommend that you're getting the vegan D3 supplement. It's exactly the same chemical, D3, but it's made from lichen or however you pronounce that. It's the stuff that grows on the rocks up here in the north. And so there are various versions out there. Right now I'm taking a pill, but I've run out of it anyway. So D3, essential nutrient, and again, the meat eaters say, well, we're getting vitamin D from our animal products, and it's true. There's a little bit of vitamin D in certain animal products. But that doesn't mean that we should be eating animal products, because think about all the crap that comes along with that vitamin D that you don't really want. We'll be getting it from the sunshine in an ideal setting. But we're not in that ideal setting, are we? Most of us, I'm not anyway, and that's why we take B12, because we're not out in the wild getting soil in our mouth every day, and D, because we're not exposing ourselves to that high quality sunlight that's in the tropics. And if you want to know more about the vitamin D supplementation, I suggest you check out my video on vitamin D here. Last but not least, iodine. Iodine. This is a Norwegian supplement, jod, but it's just iodine. And, the idea is, anyway, from what I read and what I've learned, that the soil quality today, most of the food grown, it's just not top-notch, okay? So there's iodine lacking in the soil, and so the food you're eating could be lacking in iodine, okay? But of course, if you're in an ideal setting, maybe you're growing your own food, maybe there's super high-quality soil where you're growing your food, maybe you're buying food from farmers that have high-quality soil with lots of iodine, well, in that case, maybe you don't need an iodine supplement. But either way, I recommend basing it mostly off blood work. So I've done blood work a lot. I've observed my different levels of vitamins and minerals, etc. over the years. And something that I've noticed is that my thyroid levels have gotten worse over the years eating the diet that I've been eating. And so I'm thinking the food I'm eating probably hasn't had enough iodine then. And so I started supplementing with iodine and my thyroid levels normalized. So really, go have a blood test, look at your thyroid levels, and if they're not ideal, maybe consider supplement with iodine. And Mads, my brother, has made a video about iodine, so you might want to check that out. I'll put a link to it here. And so that's it, really. 3 important supplements to take as a vegan, or even as a non-vegan. Actually, a lot of even meat eaters are deficient in iodine, deficient in vitamin D, deficient in vitamin B12. It's not just a vegan thing. It has to do with the lives we're living. We're not getting that sunshine. We're not rolling around outside in nature eating fresh food straight from the tree. We're not eating high quality food from the amazing soils. So we are missing out on some nutrients. And that's why we should supplement. To me, it makes just perfect sense. Although a fruit-based diet is an ideal diet, theoretically, it depends exactly on what fruits you're eating and where you're getting them from and where are you living. And I'm in Norway. I mean, I'm far away from an optimal situation in terms of food for human beings, right? Tropical fruits and greens and termites even. So I supplement, and I feel like it's safe. I feel like it's data-driven, based on my own blood work, based on the scientific evidence that I've seen. And it makes sense to me philosophically as well, that, if we were eating termites and getting plenty of B12 from them and the environment and spending time in the sun and eating high-quality food, we wouldn't need these supplements, but we're not in that situation. And of course, if you want to go more in depth, I do offer health coaching. I'll put a link to that here in the description. It's done via Skype, where we can talk more in depth maybe about these supplements, other supplements, and whether or not you need them in your life. So feel free to sign up for that. And of course, subscribe and let me know in the comments what you think about this. Are you against it? Are you for it? Have you tried it yourself? What supplements do you take? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks. Bye.